Okay, so we talk about forming equation and particularly a one and only equation. A very simple one and only equation will look like this: 2x equal to 16. So if you divide by 2 both sides, because that is the rule, whatever you do to the left hand side, you do to the right hand side, you get that x equal to 8. So this is a kind of a ready-made equation. Ready-made equation. It have been formed. It have been formed from words. Okay, this is 2 times x equal to 16. Those are simple words which correspond to this. So when we form equations, there are some common words we use, words or phrases, a combination of words. So like and we also use signs like equal sign, multiplication. Between here there is a multiplication. Okay, so we talk about the symbols we use. For example, addition. The words or phrases which are going to represent addition will be addition, sum of, this is a phrase, increased by is also a phrase, greater by is a phrase, more than and taller than. Not only these are just a few, mentioned a few. There are some more words and you can try to think of them in your groups or individually, but these are common words used, okay, when we talk about addition. We have subtraction. Subtraction, decreased by, this also represents a subtraction. Difference, less by, also. Minus represent, this is a very common one, minus represent subtraction. Shorter by, all these words and phrases, this is a word, this is a phrase, this is a word, all these, this is also a phrase. All these represent subtraction and many more. You can also think of them individually or in your group. Ask your mentor some other words to think and have some other alternatives for subtraction. Multiplication. This can be represented by times, product of, multiplication. Okay, these are some of the words and phrases that represent multiplication. We have division. This can be represented by division, divided, quotient, quotient of all these represent what? Represent division. And you can also think of some other words and phrases which can represent in this case division. And we have equal sign. Equal sign is represented by equal to, is, result is, and many more. Sometimes it gives, okay? It gives, so gives corresponding to equal sign. Then. So these are some of the words and phrases which represent equal sign. As I said, and as I'm going on saying, that please, these are not the only words and phrases. There are many, and you will meet many more when you do your word problems. But these are commonly used, very used. Now, this is just one step, very important step in forming equations, to understand words or phrases used which represent the symbols or the signs we normally use in forming equations. We will move now. I'm going to show you examples of questions, and where we can cite these. Okay, examples of questions and where we can cite these words. Let us look at some examples here. Examples of some questions. Yeah, those are questions. You can see them. The sum of two numbers is 25. One of the number exceeds the other by 9. Find the numbers. All right. So this is talking about the sum of. We saw this. All right. We saw this. Sum of. Sum of represents addition. It represents what? It represents addition. So the sum of two numbers, so we are going to have some two numbers. One of the number exceeds the other by 9. Find the other number. So we are able to identify words or phrases which represent some signs, but yet we missed a step-by-step application. I mean, we missed some steps of forming equations and solving. So this time I'm showing you these questions, and the other time I'll pop them up. We are going to try to do them. We cannot try to do them now because we don't know yet the steps we have to undergo when we're given. But now I'm popping them so that you can see these words, sum of. Okay, this here, sum of. This represent addition. This represent addition. Of Aaron is 5 years younger than. Okay, younger than. Right? Aaron is 5 years younger than Ron. Okay, 4 years later. So you see younger than, right? These are words. The length of a rectangle is twice its breadth. If the perimeter is, now you know that this is here stands for what? The length of rectangle is. This represent equal. Also, this represent equal. How are we going to combine these two things? A number is divided into two parts. Now, this is does not reflect to any of our phrases, of our words. A number is divided. No, I don't think that will appear. Such that one part is 10 more than the other. Okay, so when you look here, you get something of what we have been discussing. Well, right now, I'll pop another image here, which talks about steps we have to follow. Okay, now these are steps involving a linear equation or the problem. So we have a word problem like that. We need to go these steps. We have to read and the problem carefully and note what it is given and what is required. You read carefully. Read the problem carefully and note what is given and what is required. Then, denote the unknown by the variables. So as x, y, whatever. We know variables. These are variables. So we denote the unknown. For example, here we saw this. It said that the sum of two numbers. Now these numbers are variables. Denote these numbers. Let the numbers be, for example, x and y. The sum of two numbers, x plus y. Also, let the numbers be x and y. Now it's one of the number exceeds the other by 9. Okay, so y equal to x plus 9. All right. So you see, those are steps. So that's what I'm talking about here. Read the problem carefully and note what it is given and what is required. Denote the unknown by the variables. We are going to do 1 or 2 examples and you will see. Translate the problem to the language of mathematics or mathematical statement. Form the linear equation in one variable using the condition given in the problem. This is our job. Form the linear equation in one variable using the conditions given in the what? In the problem. Solve the equation for the unknown and then verify to be sure whether the answer satisfies the conditions of the problem. So these are very important steps in forming and solving. Forming, because you cannot solve before forming. So we have step 1, 2, 3, 4. Step number 4, you form this. You form this algebraic equation, then you solve it. So we form it first and then we solve it. We are going to do this from word problems. This here. The sum of two numbers is 25. One of the number exceeds the other by 9. Find the numbers. We will do this by following these steps here. By following these steps, read the problem carefully and note what is given and what is required. Denote the unknown by the variables. Translate the problem to the language of mathematical or mathematical statements. Form the linear equation in one variable using the condition given in the problem. Then we solve the equation, we verify the equation. Please be with me in these two examples. Okay, so bear with me while I'm trying to open a working place, because I have to open my working place faster. This here is going to be our working place. Oh, come on. Yeah. Refresh and go again. It's so good.